Okay, this first video on the lathe is just going to be an overview of what they are. You can see we have several lathes here. As I said, if you're coming in, you will be working on one of our lathes that nobody's worked on for probably 7 days. So it will be considered sanitary. Okay, let me go through some of the bits and pieces and then I'll start on videos, like actually running it. Say this is a lathe, and we'll start down here at the end. Kind of an odd place to start, but you'll see why. This is the tailstock. This crank, you can see, causes the quill to go out. I can put it out into position. I can use this lever to lock it in place. That'll lock the quill in place, but then the whole tailstock would still move. I would lock it in place with this lever here. Now it won't move, and I can lock that. But if I need, right now there's a drill chuck in here. If I want to take the drill chuck out, I back the quill all the way out, and there, I've taken the drill chuck out. And because I'm going to use this next, I'm going to put in what's called a live center. The center that spins around, bring it back out, it locks in place, and now it's ready to go. Moving up, and a little further down, is, well, the apron. Turns back and forth. The cross slide here goes in and out, and this will go in this direction. The cutting point for this lathe is right here. You'll see that in a minute or two. This thing is called the compound, and it goes in, it can be set at any angle, and it can go in. Don't adjust the angles, but you can turn this and then, or bring it out, and it will go in. So you've got 3 axes of movement here, although kind of combining 2 going across. There are levers here for it to feed automatically. We won't be using those. That uses these lead screws that you see here to cut threads and do things like that. It's a little more advanced than what we're doing. Excuse me. My lemonade for lunch is a little sharp. This is our chuck. A lot more about that later. The piece that we're going to cut is going to go in here, and it's going to ride in here, and we're going to do operations on it. This is the motor, obviously, or actually the motor's down there, and it comes up. But think of this as, this is called the headstock. This is a thing that you can use to figure out the speed at which you need to cut something. And it's these knobs here that you can change the speeds. When you set it up here, it tells you that you should have the letter F set up to be in the F position, and the other piece should be in the A position or the B position, and you just mix and match those to get your speeds. Again, you won't really be doing that. This is something for setting up if you're going to cut threads. You're going to see a little video about cutting threads, and that's, we're again beyond the scope of this class. This is the power button. It doesn't work. Well, that's because this machine has a secondary power button over there, or the emergency stop. You've got to reset. And now you can see it running. You turn it off, and then you'll do your work with it. Those are the parts of the lathe. The professional videos have a lot more on it. This is our LeBlond lathes. We've got 3 of them, and then we've got several other types. They all have the same setup. It's kind of like driving a Ford. If you know how to drive a Ford, you know how to drive a Chevy, because the gear shifts are going to be in certain places, and the pedal's always going to be on the accelerator's always going to be on the right, the brake is on the left, and outside that's always the clutch. Doesn't matter what vehicle it is, that's the setup. That's the way it works here. Operations are on the headstock, tailstock works the same way with all of these.